Hello, English readers, and welcome to this new live read along of White Teeth. This month, we are reading the graded reader adaptation of White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I'm Lydie and I'm an English teacher in France. I'm also the founder of Lydie's Book Club, in which I host live readings of adaptations of classics or contemporary novels of the English literature. And I tend to prioritize books that are written by women. Once a week, I meet the members of the book club via Zoom to discuss the chapters read over the week. And we also talk about books, about general, any current topic as well, especially when it's related to the novel. And those live meetups are sort of workshops of the books. So it's a nice way to explore deeper and practice your speaking skills and your critical thinking skills in English. And this month I'm hosting 9 live reading sessions. We've done quite a couple so far because we've started last week. And these live reading sessions are hosted on Instagram. And if you are not able to attend the live readings, then you can have access to those live readings on replay on my YouTube channel, Lydie's Book Club, and on the Spotify podcast called Read in English. In addition to these 9 live reading sessions, I am also hosting 3 live workshops on white teeth, and we've done already 1 so far, and the second session will be this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central European time. And you can have access to this live workshop for free by joining the book club. Once you become a member, then you'll have a link to have access to the Zoom sessions and be part of the conversation. So make sure you subscribe now. The link is in the description. You can find all the dates on my website about the upcoming live workshops. And as I said, just before, there is the second session is this Saturday. And even if you've missed the session one, then you can still join for session 2 and 3. Quick announcement as well. You can now purchase the workshop, the live workshop that I have done, that we we've recorded last month on Jane Eyre. It's now available to purchase on my website, and once you purchase the workshop, you will have access to the videos, and you can watch them whenever you want, whenever you have time. It's really at your own pace, and it's going to give you a nice flavor of what it is like to be in part of Lydie's Book Club. So that was it about the announcement. Today we are reading chapters 7 and 8 of the novel White Teeth. And if you'd like to know more about the author, Zadie Smith, or the novel, to have a kind of an overview of this novel, if you've never heard of it, or you've heard of it, but you don't really know what it's about, then I invite you to listen to the podcast episode 21 called An Introduction to Zadie Smith and White Teeth, which is available on YouTube and also on Spotify, depending on what's your favorite platform. So yeah, that's being done. Let's get started with the recap of the chapter 6 that we've read on Monday. Sorry. So this last Monday we read chapter 6, which was about Samad, the character of Samad, and his conflicted views on culture in the UK, and more specifically in London, and the fact that there is a contrast between his own values and his relationship towards religion, and the way he wants his children to be, the kind of culture and traditions he wants his children to be raised in. So he really doesn't want to let his children grow up in a kind of modern society where there is more freedom for young people, freedom of speech, freedom of expressions in terms of clothes, and also about the pop culture at the time. Chapter 6 is a big jump into the future, because I mean, it's flash forward 10 years, because we find Samad in the 1980s, and he's two boys, they're twins, are now almost nearly 10 years old, and he's very involved in the school life, and he also get the interest of one of the parents. No, it's a teacher. One of the music teacher, Poppy Burt Jones. They start spending some time together, having coffee and chatting, and have and meeting for chat. But Samad doesn't like the feelings that he starts feeling for this teacher. She's white, she's English, and despite those aspects of her, he likes her, but he doesn't want to have those feelings for her. And he actually expressed that he is corrupted. He's been corrupted by the English, now that he's been here for too long, and he is now having he's having feelings, or he's thinking about someone else than his wife. So he doesn't like that, and he kind of is trying to avoid having these feelings, and he takes the decision as well to in order for his children to not be corrupted, then he decides to send one of them, because the original thinking was to send both of his boys back to Bangladesh, but because he can't afford to send them both, he's gonna have to choose only one to be sent home, to have for him the proper education, in a sense that he is going to be raised in a more he wants his child to be raised in a more conservative and very close to Indian and Asian or Muslims beliefs. So that's where we left off. We finished the chapter 6 with this with Samad reflecting on this choice to send one of his child, but which son he's going to pick to send back home. Okay, so that's gonna be maybe the answer that we may be going to find out in chapter 7, the one that I'm gonna start reading now. Okay, so the title is Majid or Milat. So Majid and Milat are the names of Samad's boys. So which one? But which son to send? First, it had to be Majid. He was intelligent and doing well at school. He would learn the language quicker, and Milat was the best footballer Willesden football clubs under 15s had ever seen. So Samad began stealing Majid's clothes away and got him a different passport. He would be traveling with Auntie Zinat on 4th November. So Samad made up his mind and is planning to send his child away. But the next week, he changed his mind and decided that it was Milat because Majid was really Samad's favorite and he wanted to watch him grow older. Milat was becoming wild and corrupted, and he needed more teaching. Milat was trouble. So now his clothes were taken and his passport arranged. So it feels more like not like punishment, but let's see how Milat reacts to this decision. But you see here there is also a preference. Samad has a closer relationship to his son Majid than Milat. So let's see. But then Puppy Bird Jones suddenly said she had dreamed that it was Majid. Now Samad did not know what to do. So Archie decided for him. He flipped a coin in O'Connell's. So remember, Archie, this idea of flipping the coin is something that Archie, whenever Archie, so Samad's very good friend from the war, doesn't know. So when Archie doesn't know what decision to take in his life, he's flipping a coin. So flipping a coin is the fact that you are throwing a coin in the air, and then you return the heads or tail, I think. Anyway, so you choose whether you choose your life. You live the choice of an important decision. So Archie leave the decision to kind of hazard to let the life decide for him, or just a coincidence just decide for him, a coin. That is something that could be discussed, whether it's a wise decision to let life decide yourself, or just chance decide for you. So he flipped a coin in O'Connell's. Majid would go. But the word kidnap was never used. Samad knew that he had arranged a 3 a.m. flight and that he had not told Alsana anything, but he did not connect these two facts. So he was surprised when he came home to a crying Alsana at 2 a.m. on 31st October 1984. He did not think, she has discovered what I am about to do with Majid. It was now finally and forever Majid, because he did not think taking Majid was kidnap. Instead, he thought, she knows about Poppy, and because this is what the guilty do in these situations. He attacked first. So here we realize that he doesn't say anything to his wife, Alsana, and take his child in a plane without telling her and take him away. So this is why the author here is mentioning about kidnap, because he has no right to do that, to take their son away without Alsana being agreeing with that, or without knowing what he was doing. But because here again, she knows about Poppy, because he felt so guilty of having met a couple times just for coffee. Nothing happened really, but of the feeling guilty of those thoughts and feelings that he had for Poppy, that he acted quite irrationally or without saying anything. So he didn't have to be accountable for his decision. So he attacked first. So I must come home to this, must I? He said, and he threw his bag on the ground. I spent all night in that bloody restaurant, and I have to come back to you crying. Alsana began to cry harder, and then she pointed at the radio. Samad moved over and turned it up. This is the BBC World Service at 3 hours. Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, was shot today as she walked. Prime Minister of India was shot today as she walked in the garden of her New Delhi home. Enough, said Samad, switching it off. And as he continued speaking, he wondered why he was so angry. She was no bloody good anyway. And who cares what happens in India? You really are stupid. Would you cry for me like that if I had died? You care for me. You care more for some corrupt politician who you've never met. You stupid man, Alsana shouted back at him. I am not crying for her. I'm crying for my friends. There will be blood on the street back home because of this, in India and Bangladesh. I'm so happy that my children are here and not there. They will not die on the streets like rats. No, something much worse will happen to them in a corrupt country with a mother who is going mad. Look how fat you are. That's all. You have forgotten where you come from. You never see family anymore because you make me feel shame. Why did you go all the way to Bengal for a wife? They will ask. Why didn't you just go to Birmingham? I'll tell you those boys would have a better life back home than they ever. Don't you even begin, screamed Alsana. It would be over my dead body that this family moves back to a place where we are in danger. What are you planning, Samad? I phoned Ardashi. He said you've been leaving work at 11:30. It is now 2 in the morning. I'm not mad. At that moment, Samad hit Alsana. So he's hitting her. And then she pushed him hard in the stomach before running out into the garden, where Samad caught her by the waist and pulled her down onto the grass. They caught hold of each other. They caught hold of each other's hair and started kicking each other. Around this time, the twins appeared, half awake from their beds, and stood at the long glass window. Dad, said Majid after a moment. Definitely, Dad. No way, man, said Milad. I bet you all my sweets that Mom wins. Okay, so they're betting on their parents who's gonna win the fight. Oh my God. Okay, so because they feel a little bit resigned to the situation. It feels a little bit, it seems like the situation is quite familiar to them. So, Dad, said Majid after a moment. Definitely, Dad. No way, man, said Milad. I bet you all my sweets that Mom wins. Oh, cried the twin together. Then, oh my God, this is quite a funny situation. Funny, well, dark. It's dark humor here because they're just having a fight in front of their children. Asana had just ended the fight with a little help from the garden fork. Now, maybe some of us who have to work in the morning can get a good night's sleep. Oh, shouted a neighbor. Okay, sorry. So there is a neighbor. Now, maybe some of us who have to work in the morning can get a good night's sleep, shouted a neighbor. Bloody packies. A few minutes later, Samad put his hands on his son's dark head and told them to go to bed. When he reached the bedroom door, he stopped. You thank me in the end, he said, turning to Majid, who smiled politely, not understanding him. This country is no good. Then he walked up the stairs and phoned Poppy Bud Jones to tell her that he could not see her anymore. They were finished. Okay, so probably here don't remember if they had started seeing. Yeah, they kept on just. Yeah, so they could not see each other anymore, apparently. Yeah. After she woke up to find Majid had gone, Asana stopped giving her husband direct answers. It was not just about the lies or the kidnap. No, she hated about countries like Bangladesh, was just how dangerous they were. At any time, a storm could come and take your house, or an earthquake could send it falling down on top of you. In Bangladesh, life was cheap. And this is what made Alsana most upset, that Majid should learn to treat his life cheaply. Yes, he was probably safe in the Chittagong Hills, the highest part of that very low country. But she still shook as she imagined him walking through water that came up to his waist under heavy black skies. Of course, she spoke to relatives and tried to get him back, but she knew that quietly they agreed with what Samad had done. Probably because they were pleased that her family, her husband, who looked like Omar Sharif, and her son, who spoke like Prince Charles, were now as unhappy as everyone else. Even Zinat, who never told Asana about her part in the kidnap, reached over the table and took her hand. Oh, Elsie, I just keep thinking what a shame it is that he had to take the good one. And when there was a terrible storm in Bangladesh that May, Asana felt that everyone was enjoying calling her to tell her about the number of dead bodies in the streets and the houses that had been destroyed. So she had decided to stop speaking directly to her husband. For the next 8 years, she never said yes or no to him. Instead, her answer to everything was, maybe Samad. To everything was, maybe, Samad, maybe not. Alsana, he would ask, have you seen my newspaper? Maybe, Samad, maybe not. Sometimes it nearly made him crazy, but there was no money to bring Majid back anyway, even if he had wanted to. A few weeks after the storm, the Iqbals received a letter from Majid, who was the elder of the twins of 2 minutes. It was carefully written and had a recent photograph inside it. Samad grew excited when he read it aloud to Clara and Alsana, who were in the kitchen drinking tea. Milat was sitting opposite them and did not seem interested in his brother's words. When the storm happened, a vase of flour fell down in the mosque and broke my nose. When I grow up, I think vases should be put in safe places. I shall complain about other dangerous things too. See? See what? Asked Clara. He does not think stupid things like vases should be in mosque. My boy is going to be great. Maybe, Samad. Maybe not, replied Alsana. Look at his nose. It is big now. He looks like a little Englishman. Look, Milat, said Clara, and she put the photograph in front of his handsome young face. You two don't look like twins anymore. He looks like a chief, said Milat, after looking at it quite quickly with his dark eyes. Samad did not know that in teenage street language, chief did not mean leader or great person. It meant fool or stupid person. Yes, said Samad. It is important you understand the difference between you two boys. The difference between you two boys, Milat. I know that your brother will lead others. He will be a great chief, like Pandey. Okay, so here there is a quiproquo. Hi, Katie. Hello. There is a misunderstanding here between Milad and his dad, because here Milad is kind of insulting his brother, saying, oh, he looks like a chief. But so a fool, a stupid person. But Samad understand it literally like he looks like a leader, like a chief of as a respectable person. And this is the reason why he said, oh, it is important you understand the difference between you two boys, Millet. I know that your brother will lead others. You will be a great chief. Like Pandey, remember, is the great figure, his grandfather who fought for India's independence, or Bangladesh, well, all the colonized region. Milat, we are reading the We are at the end of chapter 6 here. Milat laughed so hard at this that he fell off his chair and broke his nose against the table. A lot of accident around the nose with noses here. And he's laughing because here he is laughing at his father because he did not get the joke. Yeah. In October 1987, there was a terrible storm in England too. The lights went out and then a tree came down in the Igbals' house. We must go to Archie's, said Samad. Maybe they still have light. So the family packed and quickly drove round to Archie's house. When they entered, 13-year-old Irie was sitting at the kitchen table writing in her diary. 8:30 p.m. Milat just walked in. He's so handsome, but he annoys me. He's wearing the usual tight jeans and doesn't look at me, except as a friend. I'm in love with a fool. Stupid me. Why isn't he clever like his brother? Oh, well, I'm in love and I'm fat. Storm, still crazy, got to go. So Irie, remember, it is Clara. She is Clara and Archie's daughter. All right, said Milat. All right, said Irie. Dad's gone mad. The house is really damaged. Still, we are safe here, said Archie, bringing in some long pieces of wood and placing them over the window. This is the safest house in Willesden. Yes, said Samad. We know what we are doing. Yes, we know what we are doing. Once you've driven a tank in a war, a storm is nothing. Someone tell a story, said Alsana, or this is going to be really boring. So Samad began to tell them yet again the story of Bengal Pandey. But Archie had recently been reading a newspaper article about Pandey, and he began to argue that Pandey had been drunk when he had shot that first bullet. Then Archie took out the article to prove it. As Samad and Archie began shouting at each other, Milat and Irie quietly left the house and walked into Willesden Park. This is incredible, shouted Milat through the wind. Yeah, it's crazy, said Irie. You're crazy, shouted Milat. What do you mean? I'm fine. No, you're not, shouted Milat. You're always looking at me. And what were you writing then? I know you fancy me. I do not fancy you. Fancy is very funny, lovely expression in the UK, especially to say that she has a crush on him or she likes him. And she's like, no, I don't fancy you. You fancy me, but it's no good. You're getting a bit big. I don't like big. You can't have me. Oh, it's not. So you're getting big, you're getting fat. Yeah. That's so mean. I don't want you, said Irie. You love yourself. You've got a big nose and you're trouble. Well, enjoy, said Milat, and just for a moment he moved towards her and kissed her very quickly on the mouth, then stepped back. Because that is all the trouble you're getting. Look at this cheeky little boy, very confident and kissing her without asking, or just to tease her. Oh, sorry, it's chapter 7. Sorry, I said chapter 6 earlier, but it's chapter 7 because we are just finished now, and we're gonna keep on reading with chapter 8 now. Millet and Irie. So maybe more is happening between the two. 1989, 1990. It was 14th January 1989. Millet put his wallet down in front of the ticket man. One for Bradford, please. One for Bradford, yeah? The ticket man put his face against the glass. Are you asking me, young man, or telling me? I said, one for Bradford, yeah? Don't you understand English? Millet's friends, Rajik, Vanil, Deepesh, and Ifan, all laughed and moved around behind him. Please, said the ticket man. Please what? Replied Millet. One for Bradford, yeah? Return, you understand? One for Bradford, chief. You're going to protest? You're going to the protest? No, sorry. We're going to the protest. That will be £75, please, said the ticket man. Millet and his friends groaned. You what? They said. £75. I'm not paying. Sorry. You what? They said. £75. I'm not paying that. The ticket man shrugged. Well, I'm sorry, but that's the price. Maybe next time you can steal it from some old lady. Oh. Then the man looked at the gold that fell from Millet's ears, wrists, fingers, and neck. Or you could stop here before you get to the jewelry store. The boys shouted at the men in Bengali and then began to run away. What did you call me? Shouted the ticket man. Can't say it in English? Have to talk your Paki language? Millet and his gang were a new kind of teenager. They called themselves Ragastanis and spoke a mix of Jamaican patois, Bengali, Gujarati, and English. They all wore gold and colorful scarves around their heads, and everything had Nike written all over it. They believed that Allah was strong and cool and that he would fight for them if necessary. But what they most wanted was to put the bad and strong back into Bengali and Pakistani. All of them had experienced racism when they were younger, and they had been attacked because of it, but no one would ever try to fight them now. As they went towards the Bradford train, they had no tickets to get on it, but the guards saw that they were trouble, and he did not try to stop them. Back in Willesden, Saman was telling his wife to shut up so that he could watch the Muslim protest in Bradford on the evening news. Can you understand, women? He shouted. This is the most important thing to happen to us in this country ever. It's a protest for our religion. People have had enough. We have to protect ourselves. Not that you care. Everybody arguing, laughed Alsana. Why can't they just talk? I say live and let live. Bengalis originally came from the West. No one is really English. No one is one thing. You don't know what you're talking about. Now please be... Oh my God, screamed Alsana, the smile leaving her face. Then she kneeled in front of the television. What is going on? What is he doing? Sorry, what is he doing? Is he crazy? What is he doing there? He is meant to be in school. I don't believe it. So what do you think is happening here? Why is she reacting this way? Why Alsana is suddenly kneeling down in front of the TV and saying that? So probably here that she just saw her son on TV. Let's see. Irie Jones was now age 15 and she was big. She did not have Clara's slim body, but had Hortense's instead. She had big breasts, a big stomach and thighs and big teeth. Again, she tied a sweater around her waist to make her bottom look smaller. She wore very tight knickers under her clothes. She tried everything to be smaller so that Milat would notice her. They were both 15 now, and their bodies had changed. She was a young woman, and he was a young man. But in Irie's mind, Milat had done much better than her. She was fat, had big teeth, lots of curly black hair, and she could not control. He was tall and thin, with smooth skin and chocolate eyes. He also had a beautiful smile with large white teeth. She loved him, of course, but he used to shrug and say to her, "Thing is, people need me. They need me to be Milat. Who Milat? It's my responsibility." And it was. Milat was famous in Cricklewood and Willesden. He was in many gangs now, all across North London. The white boys, he was cool, a cigarette smoker and a lady lover. To the Muslims, he was a hero, a leader. But under it all was always the anger and hurt, the feeling of belonging nowhere that comes to people who belong everywhere. It was this part of him that Irie and the other girls most loved. "But you're different," Milat would say to her. "We have history. You're a real friend. Those other women don't mean anything to me." Irie liked to believe that they had history, that she was different in a good way. She was thinking this now as she stood smoking with Milat while he listened to a friend of his. It was a beautiful autumn day as they stood behind the science building of Glenard Oak School. Joshua Chalfin, son of the hippie Chalfins, was standing near them with his friends. Irie was trying to get Milat to listen to her because he had heard that some teachers were coming to look for smokers. "Mill," she said impatiently, pulling at his arm. "Not right now, Jones." "But Mill, please, Jones. This is Ivan, old friend. I'm trying to listen to him." The tall boy, Ivan, did not pause in his speech. He had a deep, soft voice like water. He was wearing a black suit and a white shirt, and was the same age as Milat, but he had a beard that made him look much older. "There is a war going on, Milat," Ivan said. "A war?" "Milat, it's important." Milat turned impatiently and listened to her warning. "It's nothing to worry about, Jones," he said, and passed her his cigarette. They come and we run. They won't catch us." Then the boy stepped forward. "Good to meet you, sister," he said, holding out his hand to Irie. "I'm Ivan. I'm from the Kilburn branch of the Keepers of the Eternal and Victorious Islamic Nation," he said proudly. "That's a good name," said Milat. "It's got a nice kick to it." "Kevin?" said Irie. "We know that we have a problem with that," replied Ivan quietly, "but the name cannot be changed." Kevin. Oh, sorry. So the acronym of the branch is Kevin. Keepers of the Eternal and Victorious Islamic Nation makes the name Kevin, said. Yeah. So Ivan replies, "We know that we have a problem with that," replied Ivan quietly, "but the name cannot be changed. It is Allah. Anyway, to continue with anyway, To continue with what I was saying, and he turned back to Milat. You could lead the Crickerwood branch, Milat. Feeling sad for herself because Milat was not interested in talking to her, Irie turned and walked straight into Joshua Chalfin. Hi, he said. We're in English together, aren't we? And we're in music together. No, we're not, replied Irie angrily. I'm in music. I'm in music. You're in music. We're not there together. Joshua's friends laughed loudly at that, and it did not seem to hear them. I like your hair, he continued. Can I have some of your cigarette? She shrugged and started to pass it to him. Suddenly she heard Milat shout, Irie, that's my cigarette. So she turned and gave it back to him instead. At that moment, there was a shout. They all turned to see a teacher standing behind them. 10 minutes later, the three of them were in the headmistress' office. I've just spoken to all your parents, she told them. And every Tuesday and Thursday, you, Milat, and you, Irie, will go to Joshua's house and join him in a 2-hour afternoon school study group. You will study math and biology, your weak subjects and his strong ones. You're not serious? Said Irie. I am serious, replied the headmistress. Joshua's parents are happy to do this for you. They are important, well-known intellectuals. Mrs. Chalfin writes about gardening, and Mr. Chalfin is a scientist, so I think you will learn a lot. You two are intelligent, but you're spending too much time with the wrong people and doing things that will not be good for you. This will keep you off the streets. It's people helping people. This is what we like to do at Glenard Oak. And that's the end of chapter 8. So, Milat and Irie relationship is more like a friendship. Because unfortunately, it's an unrequired and not reciprocal love. Irie is very much in love. She admires Milat, whereas Milat is actually being mean to her, very critical towards her and her physical appearance, and is putting her down in a way by saying that she is too big for him, and he is actually better than her, and she's not worthy of him. So here we see that also that Milat has very bad influence on Irie. Not only he is putting her down and diminishing her, but is also doesn't make her smoke, but he's smoking when it's forbidden in school, and she is following him because she likes to be with him. So she gets in trouble because of that as well. She wants to be with him, so she's going to go against the school's rules, unfortunately. So let me know what you think about the I'm going to let you reflect on these two chapters, but actually the punishment that these two are going to are having is quite an educational one, because in the end, they're going to have to work with this Chalfant's boy, white, coming from a white family, well raised and educated as well. So we'll see whether this extra study time is going to have an impact on them or not, whether it's going to elevate them or make them have a different views on life and on school. So because it seems like they are not doing very well in science and math. So it would be quite interesting to know, to see how their relationship evolves. So that's going to be for another time. So that will be for Friday. Actually, we will read chapter 9 and 10. So I hope that you enjoyed this live session, this reading of chapters 7 and 8. Make sure that you subscribe to the book club to attend the live workshops as well, to be able to explore further the novel and discuss the chapters and be part of this workshop. Remember that you can now purchase Jane Eyre's workshop on my website store and have access to it whenever you want. I wish you a beautiful end of the day, and I will see you this Friday for the live reading of chapters 9 and 10. Bye.